What if one of America's most powerful founders was never meant to belong there at all? Born in poverty, orphaned as a child, and dismissed as an outsider, Alexander Hamilton arrived in the colonies with nothing. Yet within decades, he would help shape a nation's future. But how did an immigrant rewrite America's destiny, and at what cost? In the mid-18th century, the British colonies in North America were restless but uncertain. Political tensions with Britain were growing, yet few imagined a complete break from imperial rule. Amid this fragile world, in 1755 or 1757, the exact year remains debated, Hamilton was born on the Caribbean island of Nevis. His early life was marked not by privilege, but by hardship, loss, and survival. Hamilton's father abandoned the family when he was young. Soon after, his mother died, leaving him orphaned as a teenager. Forced into work at a trading company on the island of St. Croix, Hamilton witnessed global commerce firsthand, ships carrying sugar, goods, and wealth across empires. These experiences shaped his understanding of economics long before he ever studied politics. In 1772, a devastating hurricane struck the Caribbean. Hamilton wrote a vivid account describing the storm's destruction and human suffering. The essay exposed extraordinary intelligence and emotional depth. Local patrons, astonished by his talent, raised funds to send him to the American colonies for education, a decision that would unknowingly alter history. Arriving in New York in 1773, Hamilton quickly immersed himself in revolutionary ideas. The colonies were entering a period of intense debate over taxation and representation. Unlike many colonial leaders born into status, Hamilton viewed America through the eyes of an outsider, ambitious, analytical, and determined to prove himself. As protests against British authority intensified, Hamilton's words and actions began attracting attention. He was no longer merely an immigrant student, he was becoming a revolutionary voice. Yet the coming conflict would test not only his loyalty, but his vision for what America should become. The revolution was approaching rapidly, and Hamilton's rise from unknown student to trusted military figure would unfold in ways few could have predicted, setting the stage for decisions that would change the course of the war itself.
Revolutions are rarely won by ideas alone. They demand strategy, courage, and impossible decisions. As war erupted across the colonies, a young immigrant with no family name suddenly found himself standing beside the most powerful general in America. But proximity to power would test Alexander Hamilton in ways he never expected. By 1775, open conflict between Britain and the American colonies had begun. What started as political resistance transformed into full-scale war. For many young men, the revolution offered uncertainty. For Alexander Hamilton, it offered purpose. He joined a New York militia unit, quickly distinguishing himself through discipline, intelligence, and remarkable bravery under pressure. Hamilton helped organize an artillery company and demonstrated exceptional leadership during early battles, including the defense of New York City in 1776 and the difficult retreat that followed. At a time when the Continental Army struggled with shortages, low morale, and repeated setbacks, Hamilton's calm efficiency stood out. His written reports were precise, strategic, and unusually mature for someone barely in his 20s. His talents soon caught the attention of General George Washington, Commander-in-Chief of the Continental Army. In 1777, Washington invited Hamilton to serve as his aide-de-camp, effectively making him one of the general's closest advisors. The role placed Hamilton at the center of the Revolutionary War's decision-making process. From Washington's headquarters, Hamilton drafted critical correspondence, negotiated with officers and politicians, and helped coordinate military strategy. He witnessed firsthand the fragile alliance between soldiers, Congress, and the struggling new government. The war revealed a dangerous weakness. The colonies lacked a strong central authority capable of organizing resources efficiently. Emotionally, the position was both an honor and a frustration. Hamilton longed for battlefield command and personal glory, yet he remained behind a desk, shaping events through words rather than weapons. Still, these years gave him something more valuable, a deep understanding of leadership, governance, and the chaos that results when a nation lacks unity. The war was teaching Hamilton a lesson few others fully grasped. Victory required not just independence, but structure. As the revolution neared its turning point, Hamilton's growing vision for a powerful national government would collide with fear, rivalry, and political suspicion, beginning a struggle that would define America's future long after the war ended.
Winning independence should have secured America's future, yet peace brought a new crisis. The young nation was drowning in debt, divided by rival states, and dangerously close to collapse. While many celebrated freedom, Hamilton saw something alarming. Independence without unity could destroy everything the Revolution had achieved. When the Revolutionary War ended in 1783, the United States faced a reality far more complicated than victory celebrations suggested. The Articles of Confederation, America's first governing framework, created a loose alliance of states with a weak central authority. Congress lacked the power to tax, regulate trade, or stabilize the economy. Soldiers went unpaid, national debt soared, and economic instability spread across the states. Hamilton, shaped by his wartime experiences, believed the nation stood on the edge of failure. He argued that independence alone was not enough. Survival required a strong and functional national government. In 1786, unrest such as Shays' Rebellion exposed how fragile the country had become. To Hamilton, it was a warning. Without reform, chaos could replace revolution. In 1787, delegates gathered in Philadelphia for the Constitutional Convention. Though not the most dominant voice in the room, Hamilton pushed relentlessly for a stronger federal system capable of maintaining stability and national unity. After the Constitution was drafted, fierce public debate followed. Many Americans feared centralized power, remembering British rule all too clearly. To persuade a skeptical public, Hamilton joined Madison and Jay in writing a series of essays defending the new Constitution. Published as the Federalist Papers, these writings explained complex political ideas in clear, persuasive language. Hamilton authored the majority of them, arguing that balance, not unchecked authority, would protect liberty. Emotionally, the struggle was intense. The nation's future depended not on battlefield victories, but on trust, persuasion, and political courage. Hamilton was no longer fighting an external enemy, he was battling doubt within the country itself. The Constitution's ratification marked a beginning, not an end, because Hamilton's bold economic vision would soon ignite fierce political rivalries that reshaped American politics forever.
Nations are not only shaped by victories, they're shaped by conflict between powerful ideas. As America's first government took form, Hamilton introduced bold economic plans that promised stability but sparked fierce opposition. Allies became rivals, debates turned personal, and one political conflict would ultimately end in tragedy. In 1789, under President George Washington's new administration, Alexander Hamilton was appointed the first Secretary of the Treasury of the United States. The country faced overwhelming financial uncertainty. War debts remained unpaid, credit was weak, and economic confidence was fragile. Hamilton believed that financial stability was essential for national survival. He proposed a sweeping economic program. The federal government would assume state debts, establish a national bank, and create systems to encourage industry and investment. His vision aimed to bind the states together through shared financial interests while strengthening international credibility. Supporters saw innovation and long-term planning. Critics, including Thomas Jefferson and James Madison, feared centralized financial power would favor elites over ordinary citizens. These disagreements marked the birth of America's first political divisions. Newspapers became battlegrounds of ideas, and political parties began to form around competing visions of government. Hamilton advocated a strong federal structure and commercial growth, while his opponents emphasized agricultural independence and states' rights. Despite controversy, many elements of Hamilton's financial system stabilized the young nation's economy and established lasting institutions. Yet, political rivalry followed him personally. Years of public disputes intensified tensions with Aaron Burr, a rising political figure. In 1804, their conflict culminated in a duel in Weehawken, New Jersey. Hamilton was mortally wounded, ending a life defined by ambition, intellect, and relentless drive. Emotionally, his death shocked the nation. Hamilton left behind not wealth or dynasty, but ideas, systems that continued shaping American governance and economic policy long after his passing. The immigrant orphan who once arrived unknown had helped design the foundations of a modern nation. The story may end with Hamilton's final moment, but the debates he ignited about power, finance, and the meaning of national unity continue to influence America even today. What did you think of this video about American history? If you enjoyed it, we regularly upload many informative and knowledge-based videos on this channel, so please consider subscribing to stay connected with us. Thank you for watching the video until the end.